welcome to the Ramblin Egg Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Carroll, where we discuss all things Mad Cow, Ramble, and beyond. January 31st, 2020. It's crazy. It doesn't sound right saying 2020, but time marches on, folks, including for this old egg. This month has flown by. I'm usually waiting for this to end. The season always picks up February and then is a blur until we're back to January again. But this year has gone fast, especially the month. Luckily, we got to Michigan for some snow. Otherwise, temps have been a little bit above average, so we haven't got a lot of snow or frozen trails. Luckily, we've been able to have our races on gravel. And we'll see. February is either going to be below average with a lot of snow or just we're going to stay above. I have a feeling spring will be late again. So we could have some frozen stuff in March too and snow. So we had snow in early March last year for the Poor Farmers Fat Bike Race. So you never know. We will see what happens. I do want to apologize. I mistakenly deleted a section of last week's podcast when I was discussing my team at Frosted Fat Tire. Josh, I had a little bit of audio trouble, and in my haste, I ended up deleting. My big props to Josh. So apologies, Joshium. Just want to give you a big shout out on your race at Frosted Fat Tire. The folks, the 12 that have listened to this podcast, didn't get to hear it. You were awesome. You definitely earned that place, and you showed everybody why you earned that place on the team. Very proud of you, and you're going to kick butt this year, so keep up the good work. Okay, so last Sunday, Farmersville, Mad Cow, Fat Bike Gravel Road Race. That's a weird name, isn't it? Well, the course was a 6-mile loop. 1.5 or a little bit more were gnarly dirt gravel road with lots of potholes, and it was muddy, which was awesome. The rest was rolling pavement, so that's where you get the road race in there. Great turnout, 23 people, 24 I think, 23 officially. We had a 24th was Jake Little, who came out on the mountain bike to do some laps. Hate to exclude everybody, but it's not fair for those who have put all their money into these fat bikes. So I always get questions, why can't you have other classes? I mean, the biggest thing is it's a one-man show. I've been doing this all myself, which I love to do. At the same time, I have a lot of people that have invested their fat bikes, and if I just let all these other people in on mountain bikes that are going to go faster, it's just not the same. So even though some have carbon fat bikes and some have heavy aluminums, at least they're fat bikes. So there's my 2 cents with that. But anyways, we had a great turnout. Temps were not too bad, 33, 34. We had a lot of ice in the morning. A lot of people thought I might cancel. I was like, nope. And as luckily we drove south, we didn't have any road icing. So we did have a little drizzle, but we all got muddy and wet in the first mile. The race started at the beginning of the dirt road. Big Tim counted down. 5, 4, 3, start your Garmin's, 2, 1, hit it. And it was basically a free-for-all, everyone dodging potholes and throwing up water, and it was an epic first mile. We reached this bridge at the end of the road, single-lane bridge, and then we turned right, and we're on pavement, and I look back, and we had a big group, which was awesome. Dave Cartmel, Larry Russ attacked. T-Bolt was still there. Big Tim was there. Tree, Buzz, Josh, Jeff Richards, Rick Toller, Gary Blair. We had a nice group there. From there, we had a nice 3 to 5% grinder section, then some rollers, and then we descended down to the next dirt road, which led to the wall with 2 miles to go. Things separated on the wall, but after the hill, we all quickly got back together, rolled the dirt road. I shouldn't call it dirt. It was mud. Rolled the mud road for lap 2. I drifted back a couple times to get some picks. Near the end of the road, I saw Kane kind of roll off the front. So I worked my way back through the guys. We got through the bridge, turned around on the pavement, and I attacked, tried to bridge up to him. And it was there where my legs just said, not today, Craig. I just didn't feel that great. My rotor was rubbing too. It's just one of them days, where you try and you're like, ooh, legs are gone. Put a big weekend of training, so the legs were dead too. So it doesn't take anything away from Chris's effort. He killed it. He went on to smoke it. Jeff and Rick Toller came up to me, Jeff Richards and Rick Toller, Buzz, Josh. We continued on, hit the wall again. I think I rolled off the front, tried to take Josh with me, but got a gap and I just kept going, did another lap. Near the end of that next lap, I saw Jeff and Rick pretty close, so I decided to wait. On lap 5, which is our final lap, Jeff, Rick, and I took turns on the muddy road. As we headed west, finishing up the grinders, I just went to the front. About a minute later, looked back, and no one was there. So I just kept going, did the wall, and attacked to the finish for second. Jeff rolled in with a well-earned third. Just kudos, man. You were killing it. He is a workhorse. Rick rolled in fourth. Then we had Josh, Buzz, Dave Cartmel did an awesome ride. Tree, T-Bolt. T-Bolt did an awesome ride. I was really impressed to see him. We all know he's on a 35-pound fat bike. He's had limited riding time, and he really stepped up. So many great performances. Everyone rode great because it was a tough course. I guess, actually T-Bolt told me later that sometimes I forget how tough these courses are. And it was a good one. We would all love to have gravel, but that's just how it goes. It was close to home. It was fun. And we all survived. The mud picks and smiles made the day. So thanks to everybody for coming. Very proud of you. This is one thing I stress. You're not last. It might say last on that list, but there's a whole 30 or 40 people out there in this area that have fat bikes that will not come out anymore. I don't get it. But for whatever reason, they don't want to come, and, we can't make them. But you're missing out, folks. So whoever is last on that list, you are not last because you came out, you gave it your all, you had fun, and that's what we're doing. So great job, everybody. Another Fat Bike Wednesday in the books this week. We rode once again from Vandalia. I took everyone up to Tip. Love riding around Tip. It's tough finding places when temps are above freezing. Can't ride Timba. Of course, you can't go to any of the mountain bike parks. You don't want to damage the trails. There's that gray line where temps get above freezing just a bit or are going to dip below it at ride time. It's fair game. Luckily, Tip has a few trails. In fact, the one river trail behind Canal Lock Park has been done by one guy, and I forget his name, and I'm so sorry. But he has done an awesome job over the years. A lot of wood chips down. The trail stays in immaculate shape, so the fat bikes don't ruin anything. So we rode over there. And, in fact, we did some adventuring, which is something we haven't done all year. And it was a blast. Loved seeing all the smiles. It's just a maze. We're trying to get from point A to point B on the river valley. And we've never gotten through just because we've tried it in the summers and just the overgrowth is just too hard to get through. Winter was great. And it's like a bunch of kids just trying to find their way. And I loved hearing all the hoots and hollerings. And who knows where we'll end up next Wednesday. We'll just see what the temperatures do. I was hoping to race Timba this weekend, but once again, Mother Nature is going to be hot. It's going to be warm. Luckily, Bob has put in a call to Mike at Poor Farmers, so we're going to do a race at Poor Farmers. I've decided to mix it up. We've had a 30-miler there. This race will be about 22 miles, a little shorter. One thing about that course is there's a lot of slowing down, accelerating. The course I came up with for Sunday doesn't have that, so it's basically going to make things interesting in terms of tactics. I think you'll have a lot more people together. The last two races we've had, things separate and you have just groups of one or two. I think this one, you'll have a much bigger pack, which is kind of fun. It's kind of cool on fat bikes. So for anybody listening, of course, just watch your wheel. Don't overlap. Be smart. Be safe. We'll all have a blast. Temps are going to be warm. I've only decided to do the first half of the 2-track. So the last race, we went all the way to Fletcher and back. It's going to be windy. So this course should keep us out of the wind a little bit more. So it's designed to make things more dramatic and close in the standings. We'll see if I'm right, but I'm looking forward to it. And I'm feeling a lot better today. Still got 2 days to go. I'm motivated. I want to make up for last Sunday. So we will see. I see some new people on the list, which is always exciting. And as I said earlier, if we had everyone I know that had a fat bike, we'd be in the 60s in terms of participation. So all I can do is say, come out, people. Don't be afraid. Just come out and ride. If you want to go fast or slow, just come on out. That's why you got a fat bike. Temperatures are warm. No excuses. 2 weeks to go until Florida training camp. I am excited. I tell you, I am excited. Just going to call out Buzz because he can go now. And you have 2 weeks to find a way. You have 2 weeks, Buzz. Do it. Do it or else. It won't be the same. Anyways, I digress. 2020 is here. Everyone needs a goal. And this year, I needed to focus on something epic. Last year, I had goals in mind, which I was lucky and fortunate that the weather was good. And my big goals last year were to finally do some solo 6-hour mountain bike races on the fat bike. But the hard part about those goals, it was all weather depending. You don't know if it's going to rain, and the race is canceled because of single track. So all year it was kind of like, well, we'll just see how the weather goes. But I wasn't that, I was motivated. But the previous year I decided to do ORAM, and that was always a big goal of mine. I always had something going on that weekend of their event. So I finally had the calendar free so I could do it. And in early, January or February, Buzz agreed to do it too. Old teammate of mine also went with us, Craigo. That became the focus. And we rode a lot of fatty gravel and a lot of single track, and we trained our butts off. And that was one of my best years. Last year was a great year too. They're all great, but I felt like I needed that focus. So this year, I have lots of goals, of course. But the big one, I need something epic. So I've already signed up this week for Grusk. Gravel race up Spruce Knob in West Virginia. 82 miles, so it's like 7,000, blah, 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 feet of climbing. It's going to be epic. Buzz is signed on, so the two of us are going to go do it, which is awesome. But for my message to you is find that goal and train for it. And for me, now I have that goal listed. Yeah, I'm going to up my game even more and start focusing on that. It means, the diet, even though I was focusing on all this stuff before, it just reinvigorates me to suffer, train hard. So if you haven't picked your goal, do it. Pick something you want to do and win and go for it. If you don't win, you don't win. But if you train, you do all the work you can, you're going to come out a winner. So don't be scared. Don't be scared, folks. That wraps up this edition of Ramblin Egg. Keep the rubber side down as always and ramble on.